Fragments of Silicon. If everything works perfectly, we'd have to change the show's name to Solid Silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me as always is the regular crew. As usual, let's get to the news. Let's see. Alex, why don't you start us off this week?
It's been fairly uneventful. I've been keeping the house solid until my parents get back, which is going to be fairly soon. So that'll be nice to have them back. The progress on the deck that they're having built is going okay. It's just a little deck outside on the front door, so that Dad can use the front door. Let's see what else. The weather's been a lot cooler, which is kind of nice to me. But it has been a little bit rainy the last couple days. Um, and video game wise, I'm still going through my second playthrough of Breath of the Wild on the Switch this time. Trying to be prepared so that I can help Dad when he gets back if he has any finger memory at all. I think that's about all I got. Oh, right, there is a rerun Splatfest this weekend in Splatoon 2 that I'm probably going to try for, but I haven't decided if I want to be Team Chicken or Egg.
All right. Uh, Twilight, why don't you go?
Okay, well, this past Saturday we celebrated my father's birthday. We, of course, didn't do any outings, and even with this virus going on, he wouldn't be able to go anywhere really. Um, but still, it was enjoyable. We had cake and ice cream and spent time with him, and it was really nice. Um, As now, well, I've been feeding the stray cat that's been lurking around my house for the past few weeks. Keeping the poor thing fed. It seems to be living underneath my house.
You know that's
But
your cat, right?
yeah, it's pretty well my cat now. It doesn't quite trust me yet. It has been sleeping on my at
Yeah,
my
try.
front door.
Yeah, it's your cat, dude.
Yeah,
Well, if it hasn't
at
come
this point,
inside or whatever, it's a
yeah.
little bit
Uh,
not, but yeah.
But as far as it's concerned, I'm a source of food for it. I'm pretty much it's pretty much my master now.
As long as you know your place in the hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it really belongs to anybody, and I'm not sure how my next door neighbor would feel about me owning the cat since she's got a pond with some fish in it over there, and she has complained about cats eating one of her fish in the past. But
Well, if she complains, tell her that if you feed it, it will have less need to get fish.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. Work's been doing okay. In terms of gaming, I've been playing the game for this week. I'll be handling, and me and my friend have finished playing our co-op playthrough of Saints Row the Third, and we've started on the fourth. Though that hasn't been going quite well because the fourth is more unstable than the third.
Is
I'll
it
say
bad? I
that.
keep forgetting there was a fourth one.
Uh,
I like
Maybe.
I like the fourth one well enough, but yeah, it was a lot less stable than the
Yeah.
third.
Yeah. For a quick comparison's sake, the third, you get crashes here and there. The fourth, it seemed like it was like every, I don't know, 30 minutes or something like that. or 20 minutes, something like that. But anyway, we're hoping our next session goes better whenever that is, and that's about it.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, Petty, it's your go.
Mom's still been driving me crazy because her arm hasn't really gotten any better. So she has an MRI tomorrow.
Hey.
So they're either going to see if she needs to have surgery or if they're going to start with physical therapy. Which that's fun. I have to deal with another 6 months of this crap again.
So, so when did you get her results back?
She hasn't had the MRI yet. She gets it tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So she should hear something early next week.
Hmm.
Unless there's something really, really bad, then she might get a call tomorrow, the day after tomorrow.
Concerning.
Hello, yes, we've noticed that you're missing half of your internal organs.
Like, that would be severe.
Yeah.
And let's see. As far as gaming stuff goes, been pretty same old, same old. Been playing a little more Final Fantasy 14 because the new patch dropped, so we have new content to do. Hooray! And yeah, just been kind of living, not going insane. Hopefully, yet.
How's your SSI meeting? Is that still?
That is happening next Tuesday.
Ah, I knew it was close.
Yeah, and my attorney thinks I should get the decision on that either by the end of the year or early next year.
Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Maybe.
Indeed. Yep.
Always harrowing with these things.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No, not really.
All right, I guess it's my go. Let's see. I guess first thing to mention, Kevin is not going to be here this week. Like, at least he told us he wouldn't be. Wouldn't be surprised if he changed his mind after the as we're recording this, major political events going on, and he's covering that on the social media. But he has instituted his move. He's in his new place, and he's still getting situated. Like, I think he got in a couple of days ago, remembering that correctly. Yeah. So, moving is, a lot. And it's not just setting up furniture either. It's all the little, oh yeah, I have to change my address for this particular thing.
Which house do I live in again?
It's like, update your driver's license, your tags. It's like because he moved a few states. He's in Georgia now. Like, and it seems to be the time for moving, I guess, because my brother has completed his move. He's situated. He's showing up tomorrow to pick up some boxes he sent. Didn't have enough room to bring them, with him. So got that to look forward to. Let's see, gaming wise, well, been a bit busy, getting everything ready for his, imminent arrival. It's like, so, but I've been playing the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Like,
sweet.
It's a bit more jarring when you're coming off the Contra Anniversary Collection. I had forgotten how stiff Castlevania can be.
Yeah.
Jesus, Castlevania the Adventure.
I mean, it's known for that to some extent.
No, I know. It's just some are more stiff than others. Like Castlevania the Adventure is downright arthritic. Yeah. I mean, it's just a badly made Castlevania game. Like, you play the sequel, and it's like, oh yeah, this is how Castlevania is actually supposed to feel. Mildly stiff, but it's still playable. But getting off track here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about all my news this week. So, merrily we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week, forgive me if I mispronounced your name, because foreign names. But welcoming us here, joining us here this week is Rodrigo Chips Scharnberg.
That's why I go with chips because
Your mic is down again.
And Scharnberg is German and it's really complicated. So chips is easy, everybody can say, and that's why I use this on the game industry.
Fair enough. Right. So how we like to get started is we like to ask the person behind the studio, behind the game, this question: what got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Well, I love video games since I'm born. When I was born, the Atari was something that was out there. So I'm a little bit older, and I started playing Atari, and then uh, the first Nintendo, and then uh, Master System. And I'm not sure if you guys had this on US, uh, and then Super Nintendo and 64, and then suddenly I decided to start doing computer science, which led me to game development naturally because it was something that it was actually my second option. I thought that I would be a sports guy, but it didn't work out. So I became, first of all, a programmer, and then became a producer, project manager, and now I'm doing business and all this the production area. That's how it works, and how it happened. I started in 2007 as just a programmer in a small studio here in Brazil, and then moved forward from South Brazil to São Paulo, which is the main capital. It's not a capital of Brazil, but it's the main place to develop games here in Brazil. And then I did some back and forth. I went to US a little bit for working with Unity, and then went work with Vuga in Germany, work with some studios around the world. And now I'm back to my hometown, Porto Alegre, South Brazil, with Rockhead to work on started adventures and everything that comes along with it, which is started on wheels and archery club and all that.
Right. And how did you get the attention of Rockhead Studios?
Oh, that's an interesting story because in 2002 I tried to start working with the company. Well, sorry, I might have misunderstood your question. Did you ask how did I get the attention of Rockhead Studios?
How did you join?
Oh, okay. So I'm in the right path. Excuse me, since I'm Brazilian, sometimes I might misunderstand a few things, but still, I tried to work with the same guys in another company called Soft Logic back in 2002, when I was just starting the computer science, and I wasn't ready there yet. So I had to do the whole path to even work with Swan Princess team, the one that you might know from the movies. I worked on their games and on Swan Princess 7, and then they were looking for someone that would know how to develop games and also know a little bit about TV series and animated series, because we are starting animated series on this franchise. So I kind of mixed these two knowledges, like how to help out on the TV series side, and also how to bring something new to the table, since I knew some guys from Sony. So that's the reason that we developed the game for PS4, Xbox, and Switch, because at first the company was meant to do only mobile games. So that's how it happened. The guys kind of knew me from back 2002, and then we met a few times at GDC, the Game Developers Conference in 2014, 13, something like that. And we kept talking with each other. And since they had this opportunity, I thought that I should join to help them out.
And I suppose we should get into the game proper now. As far as I can tell, this is like the latest release from Rockhead, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. It's the latest release. Started on Switch and Xbox. But oddly enough, is also the first release of the franchise because back in the day we released Starlit Adventures for iOS and Android, and then uh, in 2018 we set a partnership with Sony to develop uh, exclusively for PS4, and then a few years later, we were able to talk to Microsoft and Nintendo and say, well, now we can move forward. We already have 3 million players on PS4. This should work with you guys. So that's the reason that we just released Starlit Adventures also on Switch and Xbox. And they are different games in their basis, because on Switch, it's a premium game, what we call. You need to pay upfront and you have everything uh, running in a different, I would say, in a more smooth way. I think it's cooler because you go after stickers and other stuff. And Xbox, you have like free to play. Anyone can play from the first level to the last level. Just have fun.
right. So I suppose we should address what is Starlit Adventures. Besides it being a multimedia franchise, like what who are the characters? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And all that sort of thing.
Well, the idea of Starlit Adventures is a universe where kids take care of the whole universe. We have the main character, which is Bo, who takes care of a horde of starlets. Starlets are creatures that are paired with the stars in the universe. So every time a star it's stolen or it's blown up, I started like fade outs and get sick, and so you need to take care of those so the universe keep up and running, and they pretty much take care of the day and night of this universe. So we have a villain that takes all the stars, and what you need to do during the game is get back those stars. But obviously, when you go to the comics, and we have a few comics of Starlit Adventures, and we have on the TV series, like we're expanding this universe, explaining that there is not only one floating island. On this universe, we have the lowlands, what you call, which you'll fight the bosses and have all the creatures of this universe. And on these floating islands, you have the starlets, and we have also stonelets and milk island, other floating islands that take care of things that should exist on this universe. The main idea here is pretty much uh, uh, make believe of kids on their apartments coming down to play. So this is the inspiration for this universe. Every time that all the kids want to have fun, they go down and have to deal not only with themselves but also with the adults and their problems. So this is pretty much what we try to bring to the table on Starlit Adventures.
I see. Now, in terms of the game, uh, well, what led you to make a? I'm honestly not sure what to call this genre.
Yeah.
It's basic. Let's say a Mr. Driller like.
Yeah. We usually call it just a platformer, but it's not exactly a platformer, especially on mobile, because you pretty much don't jump on mobile. You just dig and push back and things around.
Right.
So the idea was to bring the experience that you would have on console to mobile. Uh, so we kind of mixed a feel dig dug and other. some people remember of the first level of Alex Kidd in the Miracle World,
Hmm.
which is also coming down and stuff. So this was too obvious for us to bring this kind of gameplay to the mobile, and also have try to bring console uh, a console quality that was something that you would have in 2010 or something like 10 years ago, which is
Right.
pretty much when we start developing this. And we also knew that Nintendo wouldn't be were expecting that Nintendo wouldn't be on mobile. So we tried to fill that gap with something cute as Nintendo would do, and as polished as Nintendo would do.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Nintendo has never done a game like this on mobile.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But we also have, like, for example, we have started on Wheels, which is a racing game, and we also shipped this. We also released to the public before Nintendo even talked about Mario Kart on mobile. So we are really proud that we kind of got there a little bit earlier, but still, they're still Nintendo, right?
Right. And was it difficult to adapt a mobile title like this to the consoles?
It's always difficult because, well, there's two ways to tackle this. You can just get the game and just make a port as it is to the console, or you should you what I think is the right way to do is sit and think about the console, the main idea of what people are doing on mobile and what people are doing on console. For example, on your cell phone, you pretty much grab this from your pocket and play for like 5 minutes or 3 minutes and then put it back on your pocket. You would never do something like this on console. You probably will play the console twice a day, or some people just play once a week, and they plan to take a sit and play for like half an hour or 60 minutes or even more. So there's a lot of mechanics that we had on mobile that we simply cut it off, just to make sure that it will play more smoothly. And we also added up a few things. For example, you don't have a simple thing on gameplay, which is, as I mentioned before, the jump. You don't have the jump button, but on console you have. So all the puzzles they change, and it looks simple, but believe me, it makes a lot of difference. A lot of people complain, people that come from console to mobile, to complain that they don't have this feature. But it's a different gameplay. It's a different feel of the game itself, and you also have other things like, uh, for example, special moves. Now they are like easier to do, so it's important for you to you will play differently. And we also have the couch co-op, with what you call that we can play 4 players at the same time. So a lot of places and a lot of things become more difficult, or sometimes more easy to play, depending on how you're going to do this. So it's different, and it's way more complicated if you want to do it. Try to do it right. I'm not saying that we are doing the right way, but we are doing the best we can to give you the best experience on each console. For example, even if you're playing on Switch, you'll have a different experience, even with the touch screen and all that. It might sound silly because we are coming from mobile, but believe me, we need to do everything kind of from scratch to make it work properly on Switch.
And I suppose also in regards to the Switch version, um, does that version retain the original aspect ratio? As in, can you play this game vertically on a Switch?
No, we didn't do that, just because uh, we thought that it wouldn't make much sense. It is 100% my problem there, because we are still trying to prove ourselves as a company that can deliver a game that looks like console on console and looks like mobile on mobile. So I didn't want to screw that up and maybe make it look too mobile, And so that's the main reason that I said, well, let's keep as it is. And if the guy plugs this on TV, it will look like a proper console the same way that it's as it looks on Xbox and PS4. And if it goes everywhere with their Joy-Cons, it should look like a proper game. I don't know. It's way more something in my head than what the player might feel. But I believe that this is something that we should deliver this way. But I know that a lot of people complain about a few people complain about this, that you couldn't play this top down on portrait.
I'm sure it would have come up uh, at some point, given the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so with that out of the way, what did you do to make this game a unique experience on the Nintendo Switch then?
Well, what we did was, first thing, the most basic thing is that you can play with everything you want straight out of the box. You can choose how to play with all the suits that you have, and every suit gives you a different experience. Um, the way that the game levels up is different. You, as I mentioned, we are way more focused on. We have a sticker book where you can uh, make your sticker book and have pages and all that. So we are focused on that, but that's because that's something that I like a lot. And on the other versions, it was a little bit more hard to fill it up. We have the Infinite Tower that is way more complicated now because you can't continue on playing it. So every time that you go on Infinite Tower, it's a simple run. So everybody is in the same level of how hard the game is, and I would say that this is pretty much how we wrap this up. It's it looks more like a regular console game that you would have bought on any other console. Like we are moving forward every time to make it look more like a proper game on console, and that's what we did. We removed all the in-app purchases and all that, just to make sure the player have a solid experience.
Okay. But this isn't the end for Starlit Adventure, this incarnation of Starlit Adventures, because if I'm recalling correctly, you're also currently working on a Steam version of the game, correct?
Yeah, that's true, and this is a completely different beast. Uh, because it will look it will be mainly a game that reminds you of Starlit Adventures, but we do have an arcade version of Starlit Adventures that you can only play here in Brazil. Uh, you know, uh, obviously. So this version, you have a easy, medium, hard mode, uh, and you only have the story mode. It will be cheaper on Steam, way cheaper than you won't have the in-app purchase in game, but you will have a hardcore mode that all the levels will be way more difficult than they normally are. And instead of having 64 levels, you'll probably have 32 or 30. I'm not. It's supposed to be 32. It's like doesn't mean that it's half of the story. We'll tell the whole story, but you have less levels uh, on each world that you'll play. Nowadays you have 4, and you probably have 8, and you probably have 4. You have 3 regular levels and a boss fight, and these boss fights are also way more hardcore.
Is the rationale behind these changes because of the player base?
Yeah, definitely, because it's very unlikely that we will have our player base usually is kids, like they go from 4 to, but still, if the kids will play, they will have an easy mode, which is supposed to be like the easiest thing that you can have. But the thing is, on PC, I believe that you have too many different options, and and it's not, and it's very likely that you have someone that will get the game and say, well, I only want to play this on hardcore mode or something like that on hard mode, and you'll have maybe some kids that which we will believe that will be a smaller number that we would have on console or mobile. So that's the reason that we are keeping an easy mode, and we are definitely doing a hardcore mode, because then some people will try to play this game only as that game that it's almost impossible to play till the end,
Hmm. And how far along is the Steam version?
We are. I'm pretty sure that we might have this already on Steam in 4 weeks tops. We're like, since we have the the arcade version, it's pretty much like setting things up that it would make sense on Steam, and just polishing a little bit more, just make sure that it will work on any PC, because we have fair PC on our arcades. So just making sure that everybody will have the proper experience.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And now, in terms of the PC format itself, is this game going to be Windows only, or are you also doing builds for Windows and Linux?
Yeah, the idea is to have the three of them. Make sure that since we won't have to develop the in-app purchase and all that, and things that might go wrong, because this is the most hardcore part, believe it or not, to set up the in-app purchases and all that. Once you have just a simple, don't get me wrong, but just a simple build, just to deliver the proper game, is just make. If you're doing already to PC, you should do to Linux and Mac, because there's nothing so hard to be done when you're just pretty much building it. Yeah, I hope no other developer are wanting to kill me because I said that, but I think this is the truth.
Duly noted. And have you picked out a release date for the PC version yet?
Not yet, because we are still like trying to figure out if we might have, since it's our first game with this account on Steam. Some things take a little bit longer. I've already done a few games for PC, but every time that you set up a new account, there's always some waiting areas and some setup areas from Steam. That's the only reason that I'm not coming here to say, well, we are releasing for sure on this date. That's why I said around 4 weeks, from 4 to 6 weeks. We can say from the very last week of September to September 19. This would be the right area.
And have you sorted out pricing yet?
That's a great question. We are definitely not releasing this with those $19.99. We're probably going around $9.99, unless we see something coming differently from the Steam community, saying, well, this is too expensive. That's always funny. Say that $10 is something too expensive, but still, we hear that every time, like, well, you release a game for $20 and it's too expensive, and then you release this for $10 and it's still too expensive, and then you release it for $5 and it's still too expensive. So I don't get it.
I mean,
depending on platform, some places will like literally not accept any actual price.
Yeah.
If you're trying to put it on the phone, they want it to be free within app purchases, basically.
Yeah.
Also,
you know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, the pricing debate is a very nuanced one. I mean, we review games every week, and one of the criterions we use is if X game match is worth Y price, and sometimes it doesn't. It can be, but it's like in terms of like the customers. Of course, they want games for cheaper.
Yeah.
It's their money that they're spending.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I wonder. Well, I really don't mind hearing your opinion on Starlit Adventures. Starlit Adventures, for example, it costs $20 on Switch. It's like a third of a premium Nintendo game. So I wonder if this looks expensive or not for an American, for example.
That's a little high for an indie type Switch download. I don't know about your specific game, if it's worth it or not, and I don't think it's anywhere near out of the realm of like what I consider buying it. But it's certainly on the higher end of the normal prices we see for that kind of for this like developer category of game.
I mean, given the gameplay on display, I would say $10 might be the optimal price. One of the things that we're kind of blinded here is like how how much content and how long it takes you to get through it.
Well, we have 244 levels.
Mm-hmm.
You can play only the 64 levels of the story mode and feel satisfied with that. And this would take around 8 hours to 7 hours, I would say, to complete. This is the amount of time that I took to play the whole levels on YouTube, for example. I made a walkthrough, but still, I know that your opinion is always important for us, believe it or not. So because you guys and all the players, everybody are the ones that are willing to buy it or not. So believe me, I'll take in consideration what you said, and probably I'll test it. It's easy for us to do that. I can tag the price of the game as $10 and see it makes any difference.
Okay. Call it a sale, I suppose, or something like that. If it works, it works, and if it didn't, then
yeah,
you've got your telemetry.
Yeah, exactly. We are always doing this on game development, from the things that we sell in game to the things that the price tag, everything. We are always testing.
All right. So we are running low on time, so I'll finish this by asking, after the PC version of Starlit Adventures, is that it for this game?
I believe that Starlit Adventures will never be it. Once we done this, we probably will start looking on. Well, we are always thinking about a second Starlit Adventures, but we all obviously have still in front of us Starlit on Wheels, which is our racing game. So it will probably come somewhere in the near future for the consoles. And then after that, we'll probably start working on a proper sequel of Starlit Adventures, because it's definitely the game that we like the most and we have the biggest fan base.
Okay. And right, I'll see if my colleagues here have any final questions for you.
I think I've said everything I had to say.
I don't really have any questions, but I've been playing the PS4 version. It looks interesting.
That's good. Let me know what you think. You guys think about the PS4 version. It's the one that I like the most. Not gonna lie to you.
Right.
Because was the first one.
I'm good.
All right. So, as always, Chips, it was lovely having you on our program and telling us about your game. Hopefully you get the Steam version out without too much hassle. But until then, the game is Starlit Adventures. It's available now on mobile and all the consoles, and is coming soon to Steam. how much are the in-app purchase prices on mobile?
Around $5, from $3 to $5.
Okay. And you can get the whole game on the consoles for 20 currently, and the Steam price is set to be $10. And yeah, be sure to wish list it or pick it up on your platform of choice. Betty, play us to the next segment. All right, welcome to the topic of discussion. This week, well, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, this week's topic is about Fortnite. Um,
about Epic Games.
Yeah, it's like about Epic Games versus the world, or at
They
least
do other stuff too. It's not just Fortnite, you know.
Well, here's the thing. This is a rolling situation that is changing by the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring up, Epic Games does more than the Fortnite. Yeah, that's come up because Apple escalated the other day. But anyway, in case you've somehow missed the news, I'm like,
Which I won't room under that rock with you.
Yes. So Epic Games has launched an offensive, read lawsuit, and PR campaign, including a public call to action against Google and Apple. So, they are suing them for monopolistic practices because, well, what they claim they're doing and what their actual motivations are two different things. Because publicly, Epic Games is casting itself as the downtrodden little guy, and in the terms of against Apple and Google, that's actually not a inaccurate statement. Yes, Epic Games is $1 billion corporation. Google is $1 trillion corporation. Apple just hit $2 trillion.
And then went back down a little bit, but still.
But yeah, still, we are talking about, literally the richest corporations on earth. Okay? I'm like, if they got Microsoft involved in this somehow, then we would have the trifecta of the really, really fucking rich Silicon Valley corporations. Okay, yes, and I know Microsoft is in Redmond, Washington. That's just splitting hairs.
It gets a pass.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Epic Games is suing because they, well, here's what's going down. They breached the contract they have with those entities. They instituted in-app purchases, direct in-app purchases in the mobile versions of Fortnite, in all of the versions of Fortnite, and they have a discount, and that's in violation of the apps, the App Store and the Google Play Store's term of service.
To which, if you want to have in-game purchases, you have to do it through us.
Right. And Apple and Google have responded by pulling Fortnite from their stores. And, it's not officially confirmed by Epic Games, but they pretty much telegraphed that, this was their plan all along. They intentionally did this to institute the breach of contract and to claim monopolistic practices. Granted, in the details of the cases against Google are a bit different than Apple because, in the Apple case, Epic Games is claiming that, because they're the only game in town on iOS devices or, just Apple, Apple devices in general, they are, that's a monopoly. and in the
Which,
terms
as far as QEDs go, is relatively Q.
hmm And in terms of Google, it's a bit harder in like pure terms because the Android platform is an open platform, and indeed, you can still play Fortnite on Android devices. You can't get it from the Google Play Store, but you can still what they call sideload the game.
I think it's
Um,
also on the Samsung App Store if you have a Samsung phone.
mm, point is that you can still get it there. And what Epic Games is trying to claim in the case of Google is they are using their influence to pressure storefront, various mobile carriers to not advertise, to not promote sideload apps, which, if that is provable, is probably the strongest case that Epic Games actually has for actual what is defined as monopolistic practices. From what I've been hearing, like just claiming because Apple built this ecosystem and and that's a monopoly. That's not so cut and dry because that's just looking into things from an internal lens. Yeah, you're saying that Apple rules the entire you know iPhone ecosystem, but here's the thing: what is that in comparison to all mobile phones in the world? Less than 25%, by the way. So
Really, it always seems like more.
I'm like, this is the number I've heard cited.
I'm not actually saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it sometimes seems like more.
Fair enough. But that kind of market share is going to be taken into account. When this thing goes to court. I mean, sure they could settle, but right now we are operating under the framework that this is going to go to trial in both cases. Until like there's talk of a settlement or whatever. Like, it's a good working assumption that this is going to go to trial because Epic Games really wants to have this battle, or it wants to get what it wants from the megaliths. And what is it that they want? They claim they want open platforms for all developers. Revolution for the masses and all that. Freedom fighter rhetoric. They're using a lot of that in their lawsuit, in their PR campaign. Good God, they put out a machinima video called Fort 1984, which is a very
1980 Fortnite.
Whatever. Anyway, it's a very on the nose parody of Apple's own 1984 ad that introduced Macintosh. And the big brother in that scenario was IBM, by the way.
Yep.
No, this is not all. This actually doesn't have any real relation to 1984, but people misinterpreting or misappropriating things for their own benefit is hardly anything new.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be asking, what does Epic Games want? What do they really want if it's not, freedom for all? But what the freedom that they want is, they want all of the money. And I mean that in the literal sense here, because if you've been paying attention to Epic Games News, or if you've been listening to the show, you know that revenue sharing is a big deal with them. Specifically, how much money they're getting from revenue sharing. Remember, the whole rallying cry of the Epic Games Store is, look at how much more money you'll be getting from us, which is about its own only distinct, like selling feature or business feature apart from the other stores. But, point is, that's a big philosophical thing with Epic Games. And with the what they want to do on mobile is they basically want to set up their own Epic Games Store on both. Technically, I guess that exists on Android, but clearly they weren't having the success that they were hoping to have by bypassing Google, because they eventually relented and ended up on the Google Play Store. But they want to basically have all of the control over their Fortnite app on both systems. And and that comes down
Yeah,
to
it's like you're arguing that they have a monopoly because they're keeping you from having a monopoly is less of a good case.
It's also they're pissed off that because they use the industry standard 70-30 split. Epic Games, if you have if they've made about $1 billion on like the iOS version, let's say, and they get $700,000 of that, and Apple, well, they get 300,000, and what Epic Games wants is that $300,000. They've even mentioned it in the lawsuit. They're not interested in adjustments to the rev share. They're not interested in it going down to 10%, 5%, 0.001%. They want it 0%.
Yeah, I don't think that one's gonna fly.
I'm been watching some legal podcasts on this, and yeah, let's just say the Epic claims here are shaky, but they clearly think that they have a case. This isn't something that they just spontaneously went into. You don't develop very, very produced machinima videos if you're if you decided this a week ago.
Indeed.
But there are people who are whining about not just taking sides, but why do I have to take a side at all? They're all big corporations, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, you got a really good answer the other day, because Apple escalated shit.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like Epic Games is trying to frame it as a retaliatory strike against them for instituting this lawsuit in the first place. That's not exactly true. Like, it is true that this is being triggered because of the lawsuit, but you know what happens when you're in dispute with a merchant and their storefront? They typically take down your shit until that dispute's taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
That's some standard fucking business.
Yep.
And that tells me that Epic Games didn't quite think through their fucking lawsuit, and they didn't fucking read their contracts, because guess what? Apple has the fucking to do this. They don't have to give a reason. Like, Epic Games has provided all of the legal documentation. Like I said, this is something I got from somebody who crawled through all of the legal stuff.
Yeah, I guess to back up for a second, though, they're basically trying to lock out the Epic Games, their Unreal Engine as well now because of this.
Yes. That is what happened. Because of this, Apple has said, they're losing their license to update Unreal Engine on the not just iOS devices, on all Apple devices. In about 2 weeks, a little less now, like I think about 12 days from this recording, Unreal Engine will basically become unusable for those ecosystems. That's a far sight bigger deal than Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because if you're a developer who uses Unreal Engine, your tools aren't going to fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now Epic Games is trying to get a TRO, a temporary restraining order, against Apple to stop this. Now, perhaps they will be successful in this. Make things status quo until an actual ruling is made on what they're doing here. Maybe they won't. I'm sure we'll find out about this probably the quickest out of the whole lawsuit thing, because this is an event that's very time sensitive. Also, Epic Games has thrown Fortnite into that mix. They want Fortnite to be not just restored to like the previous version. I think they want to be able to update the Apple version of Fortnite while litigation is still pending. And once again, this is all harder to go because this is a marketplace and you've agreed to their terms of service. Now there's also the question of whether or not these terms of services are actually legal and binding or not. But the court could also say Apple is right now well within its rights to terminate all of its business with you, and not just Epic Games, but every Unreal Engine developer who uses these tools on this platform may be proper fucked right now or very soon. And yeah, this is why you can't just shrug this battle off, because it's evolved beyond just a mere game.
Because they shoved their foot in their mouth and like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of developers who their only stake in this is using Unreal Engine as a tool set, and they're caught in the blast zone because Apple doesn't really care about the people who use these tools. They're not obliged to care about that.
Especially because there are other middleware engines that can be used on basically all Apple devices.
Right. That is Epic Games' direct concern, because they're the ones who sell the middleware. It's Apple who sells the licenses to allow those things on their platforms. I'm like, and once again, these are all questions that will be either answered in court or litigation, and that's probably the thing that Epic Games has come under the most fire is the call to action, because what they're doing is they're using a PR campaign to put public pressure on Apple, especially Apple, because they didn't really make a video about Google. I mean, they had some words about Google in their "Don't Be Evil" slogan in their actual lawsuit, but they still haven't produced a machinima video about Google yet. So just by those standards alone, Apple is the main target here. But the problem some critics, including yours truly, has about this is the audience. The actual makeup of Fortnite players. They are children. They are teenagers. And it's bad enough when you're whipping up a bunch of gamers into a frenzy over something, because that's been a fucking problem since at least 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you're trying to do this for your fucking Fortnite game. Yeah, there's no you're basically trying to politicize Fortnite, and that carries its own connotations, because that may be drawn into larger bodies of politic, which can complicate things. a lot. Because keep in mind, it's Epic Games is trying to evolve Fortnite into an entertainment platform. They've been doing like fucking drive-in view parties of Star Wars shit and all that. That's problematic on its own because, once again, that's this could be a path to the alt-right highway, among other things. Or I guess in the balance of fairness, something from the radical left, although that's a lot harder to see. But that's getting beyond what we're talking about here. So yeah, there's a lot of fucking stakes in this lawsuit, like already, and and there may be even more with potential outcomes of this lawsuit. Because now this might depend on how broadly or how narrowly things are defined. What I'm hearing about in terms of like the worst case scenario, in terms of like definitions of worst case scenarios, is like, ruling that having a closed platform monopoly, that has implications well beyond the Apple, the consoles. The entities that Epic Games isn't currently suing will be drawn into this one way or another. Epic has their current rationales as to why they're not suing the console makers, but even if the ruling, let's say if the ruling goes Epic Games' way, but is defined narrowly, do you really think he's going to be satisfied with just conquering app stores? No, he's not. I can say with some amount of certainty that he's probably going to launch an assault on Nintendo, on Sony, and Microsoft against their platforms.
Because spoilers, the Nintendo eShop also works pretty much that way.
Yep.
So does Sony. Microsoft's a bit more interesting because they operate multiple storefronts, but that's mainly like the Xbox ecosystem. Not so much Windows, which is about as open as you can be. It's why no matter what Epic Games says about Steam's rev share, they can't really do anything about it other than actually try to compete. They have to build, you can't sue that because no matter how much you call them a monopoly, they're not actually a monopoly because they don't own, they have the hegemony of PC gaming, where it's like stuff becomes de facto exclusives and all. Everyone wants to be on the Steam store because that's where the fucking player base is. But they did not stop Epic Games from building their own store, from doing their shitty business tactics. They haven't done anything towards Epic Games other than put up some notices on board. When a game gets plucked from Steam, or finally closing a fucking loophole. I know some developers are pissed off that, outside advertisement of games is now verboten on the Steam forums, but, once again, fucking Epic Games is responsible for that, or rather the developers who move their games over to the Epic Games Store and use their Steam forums as like de facto advertisement, support, all the stuff that Epic Games claimed you didn't need. So, they're a big reason that happened. The other reason is something we'll be talking about next week, in that the adult patches had become so much of a problem that Steam had to clamp down on it. Anyway, so that's about where we are in terms of where the lawsuits are right now. We will probably be revisiting these things periodically, given what happens with the situation.
Because it's of vital import if you think about it.
Yeah. Clearly I have thought about it it's like even if you don't want to take a side because you don't care about the companies or you hate capitalism or whatever fucking reason, this shit is still going to have a profound effect.
Yeah, this is like one of the biggest things that's happened in like the past like 5 or 6 years.
Potentially,
Yeah.
it's like the quietest outcome is just a settlement and Epic Games gets their special dispensation, but even that is a pretty noteworthy thing. So, this is fucking huge, and should not be ignored. Like, you don't have to take a side. You don't have to like Epic Games. You don't have to like Apple. You don't have to like Google. Yeah, I'm not a fan of anyone in this situation, but it's there are stakes upon stakes here, and people are going to learn that as this thing rolls along. If they haven't already. Like I said, if you're an Unreal Engine developer on the Macintosh, you're fucking sweating right now. So, hopefully, at least that can be resolved in the interim. But, that's about it for this now. And that's about it for the show in general. So, coming up on the week ahead, no Friday show this week. And on the Sunday reviews, we'll be having reviews of Rogue Robots. Not specific. It's not just a game about you playing a literal rogue robot. They're more brainwashed. Those that still fits into the rogue model, but no, it's rogue light. And it's rogue light in that you have rogue elements, but you got the upgrade system. More on that on Sunday. We got Castle Pals for the PlayStation 4, another Radalaikia platformer. Like Laron for the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird game. I'm not exactly sure what to call it. It's ostensibly a 3D platformer that's really, really pseudo-religious. I don't know. More on that on Sunday. And Twilight will be playing The Ambassador, Fractured Timeline, a different twin-stick shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So, until Sunday, I shall wish you good gaming.